Guys, welcome back. So if you're enjoying this tutorial, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification bell so you don't miss out on next videos. We have been able to come to a point where we are able to redirect to a page that says editing, but we don't have a form yet because we were trying to edit the name, the email, and the message. So remember, we already had a contact us form. If we go to our Blade file, we will see that our contact us form has something very similar. So we'll just quickly steal from there, right? We're the ones that wrote the code. We're simply going to steal the code from there and then paste it here. So if I save this, I change this to edit inquiry, because and we refresh this. Yes, we have edit inquiry. But now the name, the email, and the message, they are not displaying a default value. It's very important for us to see what was initially there, and then we can make the change, right? And then we can make the change. So for us to do that, we can simply say if there's existing an old, right? So either if there's an old value, then old name, else inquiry name. So it's saying that, first of all, check if this form had an old value. If there was an old value, you display this. But if there's no old value, you get this inquiry name. And if we save this and we refresh, you see that our inquiry name comes, right? Our inquiry name comes. But there's a shorter format for us to do this. We can use this operator. So it says that this is it's a shorter format of what we initially wrote. It's a PHP ternary operator. So if there is an old, display the old. If else, display the name, right? So we're going to do similar thing here. If there was an old, display the old name, and else display inquiry, right? Inquiry email. Same thing here for message. Then inquire search, and we save this and we refresh our page. We have it nice and clean. It says here contact us. We have to just update this to updates inquiry, right? Just so that we have some nice English there. So the name is coming back, the email is coming back, this is coming back. Now we need a particular route, and when we click on this, where should it go to? It should hit us an update route, right? It should take us to a controller function that is going to perform the updating of this content. So for us to do that, again, we have to go back into our web file and we have to create another route, which we're going to say route put. Now, the reason why we're using put is each time you want to make an update, you use put. Each time you want to make a new insertion, you use the post. And each time you want to retrieve data, simply you use the get. So put is because we want to pull data, so you want to update data that is already existing. So this is going to be /inquiries /updates /id. So we want to update the particular inquiry with this ID, and then we open inquiry controller class method update, right? And then the name is admin.inquiries updates. Okay, so remember, each time you change here, you have to also config, you have to route clear, right? So that this is loaded. Now we also need to create the method called update in our controller. So we say public function update int id, right? Why are we using int id? Because we have specified that there's a parameter id here that we are supposed to receive. So we're receiving this id here. Just for context, we are just going to say echo I am updating id number id. Cool. So when we do this now, it means that we have created a route, which is admin inquiries update. Now we need to use this admin inquiries update to update the edit form, because remember, this edit form is still pointing to contact or submit. So this is supposed to point now to admin.inquiries.updates, and it's updating the ID inquiries. Clean. Cool. Just to be sure, we save this and we refresh our page and we have undefined variable inquiry. So there's a point where we'll say inquiries. So here it means that, okay, I didn't spell it well. It's supposed to be inquiry, because this is the variable we're using that has been passed into this view. So if you refresh your page, everything is looking nice and clean. Now we said that it is the method of the route was put, right? But we are still saying post here. Laravel has its format. So when you have to do with put method, you define the method as post and you add this directive, method directive, and you call it put. This is the way it works in Laravel. So each time you want to make a put request, your method is post and you add the directive, the arrobas method, and you call it put. So if we save this and we go back, we refresh, and when we take update inquiry, you see it's saying I am updating inquiry number 2, right? So if we go back and then we take maybe 4, right? You see that it's different. Now it's Mary Ann Tuman, and then all of this. So if we click update, it means we are at updating number 4. So when we are updating number 4, we need to pull the data for number 4. We have to go back to our inquiry. So like the same way we did in pulling this data, we have to pull inquiry is equal to inquiry find. So first thing with inquiry find, and then we just do a dd inquiry, and then we save, we refresh the page. Yes, we have it there nice and clean. But remember, we said that each time you're submitting a form, you need to validate the data, right? You need to validate that the data that you are using is actually a valid one. So it means that we need to create a validation request, right? Means we have to create a form request. We do PHP artisan make request, update inquiry request, right? Update inquiry request, and we hit enter. It's going to create us a form validation request, and we said each time you can just change it here to true. And remember, we had already a similar validation request that we can just copy the rules, because it's the same rules, name, email, message, and we can replace it here. So we have our validation rule nice and clean. Now we need to use this rule in our inquiry controller. So if we go to our inquiry controller, then we can now say updates inquiry request. So we are saying that we want to use this validation rule for the updates, and once we are here, we say validated, we pull the data that's been validated, request validated. Oops, sorry. Cool. Then we can now say, let's see what is validated, right? If we save this, we come back to our UI and then we see, okay, this is what is sent. Let's just make some changes. This is Mary Ann. Let's say this is Anne Marie. So maybe the email is wrong. Hey guys. So maybe this is what we want to send. So if we send updates, you see that now it has moved from to Anne-Marie, and then some changes here. But this is not yet on the database, right? So for us to update this record on the database, we go back to our controller. We can remove this. So we were going to say that now, since this inquiry is an object of this class, it means that if we say inquiry name is equal to validated name. Remember, we used this same thing somewhere around when we were creating the controller, when we're creating for contact us. Let's go back to the public controller. You see that we did the same thing. Here was a new object that we created, but in this case, it's an object that already has property, already has a record on the database, right? So this one is an existing inquiry. So we are saying that for the existing inquiry, set the new name to name, right? Set the new email to email, set the new message to message, and finally, inquiry, save. Nice and clean. And after you've saved that, you should redirect back. Take me to the route admin.inquiries.index. Nice. So we're saying that each time you make this update, take me to this route, redirect me to this particular route. So if I save this and I go back to my file and I refresh this and I say continue, so you see it has moved to Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, we can just edit it. Let's just put something that is KKKKA, right? Just to be sure that you see that it's working. So if you click update inquiry, you see that everything is being changed, right? And if we come here, just to be sure that our validation rule works, if we remove everything and we update, you see that it's an error. The name field is required. If we remove this and we submit, it's an error. The email field is required. So we're going to leave Anne-Marie like that. And then we do updates. So you have seen now how to make updates from a Laravel application. So you pass in you have to create first of all the route, right? And the route takes the parameter ID, and then the route has a name and a controller and a method. Then in your controller method, you will receive the ID, and definitely you will inject the validation request, right? The form request. So this is going to help us to do the validation. And after you've done the validation, you extract the results that have been validated and save it here. You look for the item, that's the inquiry, by using the find inquiry, and then you perform your update method here, and then you redirect, you save and you redirect. So that is how you perform edit and updates.